Monday, we told the story of Rebecca, a mentally unstable woman who was abandoned when she got pregnant. Today, we look at how to deal with the stigma, the lack of care, and also ask what happened to the Mental Health Act 7 years after its passage. And joining us will be Humphrey Kofi. He's Executive Secretary of the Mental Health Society and Country Facilitator, Mental Health Leadership and Advocacy Program. We'll also be hearing from the Mental Health Authority on the issue as well. Before Mamavi hosts them, here are excerpts of the documentary put together by Nancy Emefa Jadosi.
According to the Mental Health Authority, in 2017, it was estimated that about 4 million Ghanaians out of the estimated population of 28 million at the time were suffering from mild to severe mental illness. Rebecca is one of those. She's lived on the streets of Adenta for many days. She doesn't know what she does every day. She doesn't know who got her pregnant or that she's even pregnant. In this documentary, I tell you a story about Rebecca, whose story represents the major lapses in the social welfare system in Ghana and the deficiencies in the care for people with mental illness. Inside the Pantine Hospital are stories of people who have had different experiences in life, some of which have cost them the sanity of their thoughts. Rebecca was brought here by neighbors and some officials of the Adenta Municipal Assembly after she was found in labor somewhere on the streets of Adenta. Rebecca appears confused, but she realizes that she has a child now. She may be lost in her thoughts, but she knows where she is, and she hates being here. Rebecca's aunt, who we choose to call Essie, says her family is not financially capable of taking care of the baby.
Me can miss me baba with baby 2 months. And tonight, me to me, Mrs. Adia, and can you find no home?
When you look at the law, mental health service is meant to be free. All these talk about Ghana being a very hospitable and all those things, it's a sham. If we are that responsible, hospitable, then we'll be taking care of these things. We won't wait for foreigners to come and then receive them nicely when our kids and kin are roaming the streets naked.
According to the Mental Health Authority, in 2017, it was estimated that about 4 million Ghanaians out of the estimated population of 28 million at the time were suffering from mild to severe mental illness. Rebecca is one of those. She's lived on the streets of Adenta for many days. She doesn't know what she does every day. She doesn't know who got her pregnant or that she's even pregnant. In this documentary, I tell you a story about Rebecca, whose story represents the major lapses in the social welfare system in Ghana and the deficiencies in the care for people with mental illness. Inside the Pantine Hospital are stories of people who have had different experiences in life, some of which have cost them the sanity of their thoughts. Rebecca was brought here by neighbors and some officials of the Adenta Municipal Assembly after she was found in labor somewhere on the streets of Adenta. Rebecca appears confused, but she realizes that she has a child now. She may be lost in her thoughts, but she knows where she is, and she hates being here. Rebecca's aunt, who we choose to call Essie, says her family is not financially capable of taking care of the baby.
Me can miss me baba will baby 2 months. And tonight, me to me, Mrs. Adia, and can you find home?
When you look at the law, mental health service is meant to be free. All these talk about Ghana being a very hospitable and all those things, it's a sham. If we are that responsible, hospitable, then we'll be taking care of these things. We won't wait for foreigners to come and then receive them nicely when our kids and Ken are roaming the streets naked.
And this documentary has certainly got us talking. We're reflecting again, and we're reminded of the many gaps that we have in our mental health. We have a conversation on the back of this, and I tell you what, this will not be the last time that we will do this, because this is exposing all of us. And I'm reminded of the fact that we receive visitors nicely, yet we have our own Ghanaians, us, walking around naked with nobody to care for us. Joining me in the studio for a conversation is Mr. Humphrey Kofi, Executive Secretary, Mental Health Society of Ghana, Facilitator, Mental Health Leadership and Advocacy Program. Also here is Emmanuel Abuajapia. He's a PR member of the Accra Psychiatric Hospital and a member of the Mental Health Authority, a nurse as well. Good morning, gentlemen.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
This is just a little of a longer documentary that was aired yesterday. You've watched just a little that we showed you. Your thoughts on this? How often do you see the story play out? Let me start with you, Mr. Kofi.
Yeah, so thank you so much, and thank you for the interest that you have even taken in bringing this thing to the attention of the public. This is very common. I mean, if you walk around, you find that there are so many vagrants around, some being knocked down by vehicles and are still lying by the roadside. There are few individuals who keep informing us and take interest in how can they support in this direction. I know of one bank that really wants to help in this direction. But it is very common. I mean, you find them in very weird places, just by the roadside, in somebody's shop, in front of somebody's shop, at the lorry park, in the market centers. They are all over. I mean, this is a very common phenomenon that we find as people working in the area of mental health.
Emmanuel.
Okay, so being in the field, going for vagrants on the street, as you rightly said, they are scattered everywhere, and they end up with, sometimes you go for them with wounds, you go, some have kids. It's sometimes, excuse me the word, it's a bad situation, because you may meet a vagrant with feces all smeared all over him. Some just in their minds have created their own worlds around them with a lot of garbage and a lot of things, and you have to pull them out, and the risk involved and everything. And so some time ago we used to do Operation Clear the Streets. So we used to bring them in the hospital. Sometimes they don't even know their names themselves. They don't know where they come. So we end up giving up names. So like we have Amaran About or Kwesi Ridge Hospital, because we found him on a Sunday around the Ridge Hospital, and so for identification. So basically, it's not a nice scene. It takes a great lot of heart to be able to even join the team to go out there and bring them in. This is what we face almost. But for some time, once again, due to financial issues, I mean, challenges, it's not ongoing again.
Okay, so you stopped this operation.
We stopped this operation. Yes.
Mainly because of financial challenges.
Yeah, because of financial challenges. Yeah.
Mr. Kofi, this documentary has is exposing a lot of things that you're already familiar with, because this is your field. When these persons are found in our communities, there's something that could be done. Tell us first of all what it is and why we are not able to do it.
Right. So even before the mental health law was promulgated in 2012, you recall that if there was going to be an international conference in Ghana, people with mental disorders and vagrants were bundled and put in the hospitals, and right after the conference is over, they are let out. It was not a deliberate attempt to treat them and get them to be well. It was because we agreed that yes, their presence was an eyesore and foreigners need not see, so let's get them out of the place. So the AMA will bundle them, but now we have the law. The law says that for such vagrants, it is the duty of the district assembly, the district health management team, and the police at the district level to ensure that these vagrants are taken care of. It doesn't matter whether the vagrant migrated from wherever to wherever.
Once the person is found
within your jurisdiction, I mean, it behoves on you and these three institutions to ensure that they are really taken care of. I mean, so you would expect that the district assembly, the Ghana Police Service, and the district health management team will collaborate to ensure that these people are taken away from the streets and also by the roadside. I wouldn't think that the district assembly would want to wait to hear from the district health management team to take action. But the involvement of the police is also very critical, because if they are not involved, it could be assumed that the people are being abducted. And you know the issue of kidnapping and abduction now. So you need really the support of the police. And of course, that's what the law says. So and an individual can really get up and enforce this law. We don't need an ally. We don't need an ally to enforce this one, because it's clear.
So what it is that we have a Mental Health Authority Act. We have a law that specifies what we can do with persons like that on the streets and anywhere, people who don't have homes, people who clearly we can see have some mental health challenges. But Emmanuel, why are we not able to do this?
Now, basically, we are looking at the streams of funds to be able to cater for our patients. And once again, in times past, you'd realize that about 2 years ago, we went on strike as a hospital, and we could not feed our patients, we could not give them medication. Basically, anything that could help make their living
They were
better.
beating you up at that.
They were, they were beating us, and we literally had to leave the hospital. Now, stakeholders meetings came up again. So we sat down, we agreed with the government, okay, then that, okay, whatever money they owe us, that we need to pay our suppliers. They were going to pay up, and then medications. Believe you me, it just went for a period of about 6 months, and everything went into shambles again. That's how come literally now, when you walk into a psychiatric hospital, you have to pay something to be able, because other than that, we will not have the monies to be able to run the hospital and take care of our patients.
But Mr. Kofi, this is a challenge because mental health care is supposed to be free.
Yes. You see, you can see already, I mean, per this documentary, how it has exposed the gap between the service that is rendered and the service that is required. And I believe that much as the mental health law policy per se says that mental health shall be free in Ghana, and the mental health law is also emphasizes the same thing, it is not out of place to still have the various mental health disorders on the National Health Insurance Scheme list. It is not out of place because this person, for instance, could be described as one of the paupers indigents per the National Health Insurance own law that said people could be treated. So why are we not ensuring that some of these people who cannot find families, who cannot find relations, are not treated and taken out of the street? And I believe that if indeed the district assembly, the district health management, the police are working together with the National Health Insurance at the district level, they should be able to take care of some of these people, so that the issue of medication at least could be sorted out through the scheme.
Emmanuel, there's also the issue of stigma, where, you know, clearly in this documentary where a family member says, I am even occupied, you know, I have other grandchildren to take care of. Maybe we can even backtrack. How does the person who is not mentally stable even get pregnant in the first place?
Okay, so when you look at mental health, like and mental illness, so when someone has mental illness in our setting, because we are a religious country, people often attribute these things to demonology, and so then it's either the person is cursed or the person did something, and the evil spirits are, all these things are surrounding the person. There's a myth also going around that when you have sex with a mental ill patient, a female, I mean, it helps boost your spiritual insight, your wealth comes. It's something in the psyche.
So there may be people who are deliberately sleeping with people who are mentally ill, because of the spiritual benefits that supposedly is associated with that.
Yes, and it is known in the public. Ask anybody walking in the street. Have you ever heard that when you sleep with a mental, they know, they are aware. Some people even think that a mental patient, when it gives you lotto numbers, they work. They have this myth around them. So once again, she may be pregnant because someone deliberately slept with her. Maybe she was sleeping, maybe she was forced, not in a right state of her mind, would give in and end up with a baby.
And that's rape.
That's rape. Yeah, that's rape. But how do we get this person, get hold of it? Because first of all, she's in the community. Nobody cares. Nobody. And the problem we've always had is, even when patients are discharged and they get home, if they had a room, they will rent out the room. They don't care about what they will eat, what they wear, and what happens to them. So they relapse. So it's just like the psychiatric hospital is just doing a patient relapse. You bring them back, they get well, they go back, relapse. So it's like a recycling of patients. Basically, like almost like recycling, and that's how it has been.
Well, I guess that there are times that the patients would even want to remain patients and be at the facility because there's no home really to go back to.
I've seen with my eyes patients who, when we're discharged, fake the relapse because I'm going home. They will beat me. They will not give me food. Everything. Oh, then immediately he just relapses, and then you have to take them back, and the family is okay.
Mr. Kofi, you do a lot of work in this field. Can we correct this? Is it getting better? Is it getting worse?
Well, so the documentary, as you have rightly shown, I mean, if I look at it from where I sit, has a multifaceted dimension. The issue of reproductive health of the lady, maternal mental health, I mean, related. We are looking at the baby itself that has been delivered. How is she going to recover? So the issue of serious maternal and reproductive health issues. Who is going to take care of this baby and the mother as well? I mean, for me, it's a situation that we can really, of course, we have come quite far because the law is now in place.
But then again, we are saying that there's no regulation, there's no LI. So we have a law and we don't have an LI. So it's some aspect of it we cannot be used or be effective, if you like.
So much as I believe that there are some aspects of the mental health law that cannot really be implemented without the LI, there are some that do not need administrative directive. What is the LI supposed to do? The LI is supposed to it's a subsidiary law, just trying to give administrative directive to the parent law, which we are talking about. And the parent law itself has elements of sections that can be implemented directly without reference to LI. We should stop this excuse of the LI is not ready, we cannot do anything. I mean, what are we talking about? Even if you look at the mental health law, there are so many things. Let me give you one example. For instance, there should be a visiting committee that should visit all the informal faith-based psychiatric facilities. That's to say,
so
the
like
prayer
churches
camp. Yes.
And okay.
So there is a visiting committee that's supposed to pay unannounced visit to these facilities, and if they are not doing things right in terms of human rights, they close them down. This one you need an LI. We don't need an
They
LI.
do that sometimes, Emmanuel.
We do that sometimes.
When you have funds.
That's the word, when we have funds.
Okay, so first of all, the state is supposed to be providing funds. I mean, there's a reason mental health care is free.
Yeah.
When was the last time? Okay, it delays, Mr. Kofi. I am trying to be very diplomatic in this conversation. It delays.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the effect of the delay? In fact, do you know what causes the delay?
I think that Kofi wants.
Okay, Mr. Kofi, please help us. Then you talk about the effects.
As we speak now, there are no psychotropic medicines in the hospitals.
Zero. In all the facilities.
Ask yourself, when was the last time government produced or manufactured or made available medicines to the psychiatric hospitals? When was the last time?
When?
And the other thing is that the cycle is such that they will even let it run out before they begin a process. So by the time the letter is finished, there's a huge gap. I mean, what kind of system is this? I sometimes get so worried that I don't know what is happening. And when it is time for us to take monies to do certain things, we find the money. So clearly this is not as important. There is no priority attached to this one.
Thank you.
In the absence of what's the effect of you not having the right medicines in the facilities? We don't want you running away from the hospital or from the patients.
Okay, so we devised a strategy for Accra Psychiatric Hospital.
Okay.
We decided to raise some internal generated funds. So basically, the director helped in refurbishing a structure, and we used for a 24-hour pharmacy where we get some coins. And then we refurbished our laboratory services, where people who do not get the services from an Abraka Polyclinic will walk into, they come to, because there it's cheaper. They will come and then they will do it.
Yeah, but what it means is that you're still asking them to pay when it's supposed to be absolutely free.
No, for those ones are external services we are offering. So a sane person, someone who's mentally well, I mean, goes to, you have malaria and then an Abraka Polyclinic cannot do the test.
So they come to you for that external service and then you charge them.
And then 24 hours is external services. So they pay. And then we have the electroconvulsive therapy sessions where they pay. So basically, these are some which were supposed to be free, but now they pay. So this is how basically we've skewed the hospital to not be able to basically fail.
But Mr. Kofi, if you're running a facility like this, how do you get nurses to be as passionate, doctors to be as committed? Because this is basically like your home where things are hard and you're trying to make ends meet. This is work. And you're providing a certain service. You shouldn't have all these difficulties and all these challenges.
That is quite correct. I mean, if you run a mental health service in the facilities and medicines are not available, you diagnose the patients, they have to go and look for the medication. You cannot provide as and when they need. You have to improvise some of the medication. We are already even saying that some of the medications they are providing are outmoded. and have serious side effects as compared to the more practically modern medications that are working with less side effects. Because some of the medication, when you give it to the parent, they sleep a lot, they eat a lot, I mean so many things, and high libido and all that. But there are modern psychotropics that we can use to replace the ones that we have. Even the old ones we are not getting. So when we would get the quite modern ones, at least we need to be quite serious in this area for once. Look at the suicide cases that are going on in the country at the moment. I mean, is it that the authorities are waiting for these issues to come close to their doorsteps before they think that the thing has come nearer than we thought? You have the opportunity to correct the wrong because you are in power, or you are somebody in office who can do something to change the system. You need to do it now. I think that we need to also involve the National Health Insurance Scheme. The policy issue that they are using as an excuse to take people out of the essential medicines list is not appropriate. It's not proper. Because, for instance, this woman, she could have benefited from the scheme as a pauper, as an indigent, any medication that her diagnosis will require, you know.
Emmanuel, if a patient delivers and families don't come in, what happens? Okay,
so basically, let's say a patient delivers and within our hospital.
Yes, within your hospital.
Beautiful. So we have a unit, we have a ward for kids. But once again, these kids are designed, or the ward is designed for kids with special needs, like have autism, have the rest. So you can't mix them with them. So therefore, we require that social services, we tell them that.
But when you talk about social services in Ghana, what exactly are you referring to?
So we have a welfare. We have a welfare.
Social welfare.
Social welfare.
Okay.
Yeah. So we inform them, and then they come in, and then they help support the taking care of the kids.
So they come and take the kids away.
Yes.
Wow. That doesn't give me any hope.
Because
it doesn't. Because the social welfare we're talking about also lacks a lot of things. I mean, it doesn't, and that's why I'm saying that. So this patient is in your facility. The only provider, the next institution you can call on is the social service.
Because once again, you can't keep the baby with the mother within the hospital.
Absolutely.
Yes. And that is our first line of link.
Okay, but how about family? How about family?
Okay, so let me give you an example. So we have a patient like that who gave birth, but this time around the family didn't take any responsibility.
Okay.
It was the lady's friend who the child is with now.
Wow.
Who is actually taking care of the baby.
Okay, but who is following up? Who is making sure that the baby is being taken care of?
The psychiatric nurses were liaised with the lady. Fortunately, is also a nurse. So, but the community psychiatric nurses within the jurisdiction go there to check up on the baby, and then now the mother is recovering. So they liaise information between both parties.
So how do we define this? It's not like she's adopted the child.
No, it's not like she's just...
It's because there's nobody to care for the child,
yes,
so she's taking that responsibility.
Willingly taking that responsibility.
Wow.
Willingly.
Interesting. Mr. Kofi, maybe I see our social service differently. Maybe it's not as bad as I'm making it look like.
Well, it is as bad as you see it, because when we talk about social service, we are talking about the involvement of the social welfare, the psychologists, clinical psychologists, the psychiatrists, occupational therapists. All those people come to play when you want to have an absolute recovery treatment process. And any of these people I have mentioned who will be out of the way would not really facilitate the quick recovery. The issue of psychologists, how many people are getting the services of the psychologists? I mean, in our work, we work with the United Nations Fund for Victims of Torture to provide some psychological counseling to people, because some of the situations are not medical oriented. You need to talk to a psychologist. The person needs to understand you and talk to you, and you could recover without medication. But how many psychologists do we have in Ghana, and how many are in the facilities? If you want to match the ratio, how many people are you going to get?
Yeah, I mean, we were talking before we came on air, and I was saying that I would never walk into Accra Psychiatric Hospital to speak to a counselor there, because just the environment is depressing enough. You know?
We are not even getting medications, and sometimes food is a problem. But now it's a bit stable. Like the food is a bit, because we get benevolent people who work in every day. So we are basically running the hospital of benevolent people.
But you see, and what happens in that situation? People will bring leftovers.
Obviously, even so. Last time we gave a sort of advisory warning to people that, see, the fact that we are restless, we don't have enough, doesn't mean that you can just walk up and bring expired food, clothes that have been worn with infestation, and then they bring them. See,
it's just a dumping ground.
No, it shouldn't be so. So now people have taken cue, and then they are making sure that whatever they are bringing is better. Otherwise, we reject it.
Okay, but can you reject in their faces?
Yes, because we rejected one. They broke clothes, and believe you me, it was infested with bed bugs. They saw it themselves, and they were ashamed. But we beg you, it's either we will bend these clothes in front of you, or
you carry your things away. But I want to talk about you because you're a nurse. This whole environment that we're describing, you actually work there.
Okay.
What is keeping you going? You could work in any other facility, correct? Can you work in a private facility?
We are trying to work in any other, but because we are just specialized, that's how come.
So you're specialized in mental health?
In mental health.
Okay.
So I can work in a general hospital, I can work in any other hospital, but just because I'm specialized in mental health.
Is it because you don't have opportunities in private hospitals? That's why you are here at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital? Because I'm trying to see the kind of motivation and the passion that you work with. Honestly, this environment that we describe, this environment that we're talking about, is not healthy enough. So I just want to know what keeps you going, so we can boost that, whatever it is that's going on, so that you can continue to stay. That's why I'm asking this.
It's not that I don't have the opportunity to work in any other hospital. If I wanted to do locum or work in any other hospital, I could. But for the sake of mankind, that's my first thing, because when I walk into my ward, there are people from all categories of life. Bankers, teachers, doctors, policemen, prison officers. And usually when I go into the ward, when they see me, oh, you've come for night shift, and you need budget, so they will be happy. We are happy that you came. I usually sit with them, form a round table discussion, we talk. Like we have time for them. And some cry, some will tell you issues, we all laugh. It's like a family. It is these things that push me to go to work every day. Believe you me, I would have gone into another sector of the health ministry. Like, the fact that I see my patients recover and I meet them on the streets, we all share me on this guy, he took care of me and he's better now. Or I see that banker, the teller, he says, hi, how are you? Do you remember me? I said, I do remember you. And they say, thank you when I came to Accra Psychiatric Hospital. It is but for these things that I wake up and go every day. Because believe you me, the first time I received a blow, that was about last 3 weeks, at the back of my head.
Wow.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I was sharing medications. The guy has been hallucinating for quite some time. The medication seemed not to be working. So before I could say Jack, the blow had already landed and I was almost blacking out. And there's nothing I can do because he's not in his clear mind. And I look at him and I just lift up my head to the heavens and I say, well, but for these reasons, we were called. I mean, no place is better. And I've been taught, I have learned that wherever you are, just do your best. Give of your best. I mean, sometimes, if I say I will talk about these issues, I may end up crying. But
I'm passionate about this conversation because I could be in your ward tomorrow.
Yeah.
I could even be there today.
Yeah.
Anybody could be there. Yeah. It's not a place where you go with identity.
It's true.
True.
Because
the illness that has taken over you does not care who you are.
Don't care who you are.
Yeah. And that's why we have to fix it.
Yeah.
And that's why I think this conversation must continue.
Yeah.
Because we have to hold people in authority responsible and accountable so that we fix this. It could happen to anybody, could end up there.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody.
Could end.
And you see, the effect of government not providing funding and no medication is that now many of those who suffer mental illness tend to go to the prayer camps. Because at the prayer camps, they will get some spiritual healing. They will be given some traditional medicine, they believe. They will be exercised if it is spiritual, and they will get the attention. So government is not providing the funds, there is no medication, but at least I'm told that when I go to this spiritual healer, I could recover. Why waste my time with the stigma also and come to the psychiatric hospital or to the institutions? And then where I can get the same, even that one is more complex because there is a spiritual aspect to what will be done over there.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for the conversation today. One of the things we were doing before we came on air was to also be tracking this LI. We know that Parliament is on recess, so we'll continue to follow up on that. But there are so many other angles to this that we explore, and we are not ending the conversation here. Thank you very much for the insight that you bring to this as well.
Thank you for having me.
Stay with us. I mean, 2020 is when election is getting very close. That's when we get our political leaders coming to us, and we need to push them. We all need to have a voice so we can hold them and get them to fix the challenges that we have in this area.